So today I'll be comparing and contrasting two characters from two very iconic books in American literature. J. Gatsby from F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, and Willie Stark from Robert Penn Warren's All the King's Men. Not only do the two characters share many similarities, they also happen to symbolize some of the same things. Furthermore, the two books were also told from the perspective of other characters, that being Nick Carraway and Jack Burton. In both books, the characters share many superficial qualities like affluence, power, and their death. But I believe both books set out to show more through their characters than the fall of two wealthy men. I believe they're set out to show the decay of the American dream and how wealth and power can lead to corruption. On one hand, we have J. Gatsby, an incredibly wealthy young man living in a mansion in West Egg. He is famous for the lavish parties he throws every week, but no one knows where he comes from, what he does, or exactly how he made his fortune. In fact, much of Gatsby's past is kept hidden from the reader throughout the novel. On the other hand, we have Willie Stark, who, like Gatsby, rose from poverty to become something much more than he originally was. To the average Joe, Willie is an American hero, and he seems to be living the American dream. He studied night after night for years to educate himself when he couldn't afford to finish college, and eventually became governor of his state. As governor, he built schools, roads, hospitals, and created jobs. He stands up for the little guy and fights oppression with truth. However, both characters seem to be living the American dream. It's surprising to realize that both characters are in fact sad men. J. Gatsby's American dream may have begun like any others, the wish for enough money to buy fancy cars, and in an age of prohibition, enough whiskey to crash them. But Gatsby wishes for much more. He wishes for the love and affection of Daisy Buchanan. In fact, Gatsby's accomplishments throughout the book were done simply to win the affection of Daisy. He goes as far enough to buy a mansion on the opposite side of the lake to Daisy's house. He throws lavish parties and puts on a charming mask for others, hoping that one day the love of his life will show up on his doorstep. This is his American dream. Similarly, Willie Stark is a representation of a man who rose from nothing and gained everything. The popular American dream at the time. Willie's dream was simple, and in fact, everything that he stood for was noble. It was what he built his empire on that itched away at him every single day and made others question whether he truly was a good man. Willie wished to lessen the load of the little guy by heavily taxing the rich and wealthy. He wished to reform the city and make changes that matter. But like all men with a dream, he faced a problem. The dilemma being the obstacles placed in front of one's dream. For Gatsby, his dream was simple: to win the heart of a girl. The problem he faced, however, was the how. He eventually concluded that in order to do so, he had to amass a great deal of money and become someone who she wanted to be with. But in the end, he simply became someone who he thought she wanted to be with. The tragedy being that even though he was so close to achieving his dream, the green light across the lake he felt was within his reach went out. Similarly, Willie wished for good. He wanted to help, but like many politicians who want to do good, the government moves too slow. So in order to expedite the process of his reform and work around regulation, Willie blackmailed people that he worked with in order to achieve a greater good. His tragedy being that even though he is helping, he knows that what he's doing is wrong. He drinks himself into states of confusion in order to forget and facilitate the illicit things he has to do in order to make a difference. He built an empire of greatness based on lies and deceit, corrupting those around him for what he thought would eventually benefit the rest. Gatsby and Willie both represent characters who have achieved the generic American dream, only to realize it didn't come with the happiness it promised. It turned them into men that they didn't want to be, and eventually led to their demise.